God. Look at this audience. So good looking. Welcome to the Torrid Love Affair Storytelling Extravaganza and Book Launch. So I have something to tell you. I've never done this before. So, thank you. So there's a couple things that are going to happen tonight. It's going to be wonky. I guarantee it. It's going to be wonky. But I also guarantee you're going to have a hell of a good time. How does that sound? Fantastic. First of all, thank you guys so much for being here. I'm stepping into something a lot different than I used to be. And as I move forward into somebody who has a commitment to share about love, intimacy, and relationships in the public forum, you know, I get uncomfortable. And I don't know how I'm going to be taken. And I don't know if I'm doing it right. And I don't know if I'm going to make a difference. But my desire to have these types of conversations and my commitment to do so overrides my uncomfortability. And so that's why I'm doing this tonight. If you don't know, my name's Colleen. Sorry, maybe people don't know me. I am currently writing a book called The Art of the Torrid Love Affair. How to use short emotional relationships for spiritual growth. Instead of pushing away this idea of like we shouldn't have short relationships, the evolution of relationships has been we're having shorter relationships. It is the tender age, the Tinder age. So, because of that, why are we pushing away something that's actually happening? How can we actually evolve into such a way that we're using it as an asset, as a tool for us to grow and expand and have the amazing love life, relationships, and any part of life that we want with more joy, happiness, connection, love, and aliveness. So this marks this occasion of me stepping into this. I am 50% way into my book, and this is the pre-order book launch, if you will. Then I have these amazing, brave, courageous, beautiful people who are going to be sharing the stage with me today. Now, none of these people, well, actually, I think one of these people is a professional. Everybody else is brand spanking new. And there's a reason why they're standing up here to share their stories with you. Not only do they want to entertain you, but there's something on the other side that they get to have. By showing their vulnerability, they get to have a stronger knowingness of themselves, more confidence, be more capable to be up here sharing themselves. So there's a gift that they're giving themselves, and there's a gift that they're giving you. And what's beautiful about it is that because they're here for you, I know that you're here for them. Thank you. The snaps. But there are some things that we need from you to make sure that our performers show up great. One of them is to put your phone away. If you want to text, maybe you can stand up and go up to the side. Because when you have your phone out, what that tells us is that we're uninteresting. And then what it does, it has us shrink a little bit on stage. So with your phone's not out and your eyes on us, we glow. Another thing that we would love to have from you is laugh at our jokes. It'd be great if you could just laugh at our jokes and have fun with us. And third, participate. This is actually going to be a show where there's going to be a lot of audience participation. So it'd be great to participate. If you ask for a volunteer, if you could volunteer, if there's a sing-along, or clap, just your participation would be fantastic. And we're going to go ahead and start the participation now. I am going to be sharing with you about how to have a torrid love affair. Can anyone describe to me what you think a torrid love affair is? And you just have to really just scream it out. Anybody want to give me the...
Sweaty.
Sweaty, hot, compassionate. Passionate, yes. Hot, sweaty, passionate. Say it again.
Whirlwind.
Whirlwinds. Exactly. So that's beautiful. I am taking back the word torrid to have it be passionate, emotional, fast, but transformative. So we're going to add that little transformation in there. One of the things that's helped me have torrid love affairs again and again is my training in improv. Now, improv has this rule. Does everyone know what improv is? Does everyone know, like, comedy improv? Yeah, okay, nods are good, nods are good. Maybe jazz improv. Yes, yeah, I hear you. You're cool. Yeah, I know. Rapping improv. Some person wants to say MacGyver improv. So in improv, there's this beautiful rule about saying yes. And without saying yes, there is no start of a torrid love affair. So I learned to say yes a lot more. And I'm going to have you guys practice with me. So if everyone can just say a big yes at 1, 2, when I skip to 3, I should say. So 1, 2, 3.
Yes!
Oh, beautiful. All right, just give me more emotion just because. 1, 2, 3.
Yes!
Yes. Okay, I'm going to be telling a story. And I'm going to be asking you some questions. And I just want you to reply with yes. Will you tell a story with me?
Yes!
Are we going to go on a date?
Yes!
Are we going to go home together?
Yes!
Are we possibly going to move in?
Yes!
Are we going to have a long, passionate, torrid love affair?
Yes!
Are we going to open up the relationship because maybe it got a little stale?
Yes!
Are we going to close that relationship back because that didn't work?
Yes!
Are we going to live happily ever after?
Yes!
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Okay, so now, I want you to say no, just to get the understanding of what it looks like, okay? So I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to say no. Do you want to tell a story with me?
No!
Okay, I guess I'll just... So at any time, of course, the no can stop the action. But you want to be really cognizant of when are you saying no to something that you could say yes to. And if you're saying no to something that you really want, who is in the driver's seat, or what is in the driver's seat of you taking action on what you don't want for your life? And when you start asking those questions of what's in the background, you start revealing them, and then you can choose. I'll say more about that later. But right now I want to introduce you guys to the core 4 minus 1, because one got sick. Improv troupe. Please have Yeshi and Martin join me on the stage. All right, so we are going to be reenacting somebody's weirdest or first kiss. First kiss that might have been a little strange, or your weirdest kiss. Just think about throughout your life. Go through the files of the men and the women. Is there anybody out there who has kind of odd story, or didn't go weird? Yeah, Carolyn?
Yes.
Would you please come up on the stage? Everyone, give her a hand of applause. Woo! Okay, no, I love it. Okay, so I'm gonna give you the mic. You're gonna describe to us the weirdest or your first kiss, okay? You're just gonna give us the gist of it and some details, okay? We'll be asking questions.
Okay. Are you gonna start asking, or I describe first? Oh, I think I was 11 or 12, and I was playing Spin the Bottle with a group of friends, and I got my gay friend, who I knew at that age. I knew by 5 that he was gay. And we both had braces. Yeah, we got stuck. That was my first kiss.
So beautiful, thank you, Carolyn. So tell me, how did that make you feel when you got stuck with your gay friend? What did you make that mean?
We laughed a lot. Yeah, it was funny. Everyone was laughing. It was cool.
Yeah, did you feel embarrassed?
Yeah, totally.
Totally embarrassed.
Yeah.
And what happened the next day of school?
Oh, everyone knew about it.
Everybody knew about it, of course.
Oh, throw cold water on them.
Throw cold water on them. Okay, great. Did you actually get someone to throw cold water?
No.
Okay,
That
that's
would not
good.
have helped at all.
No. Well, you know, he was gay, but you guys were still hot for each other. Must have been very confusing. Okay, beautiful. Guys, do you have any other questions you'd like to ask Carolyn about her first kiss? Okay, beautiful. Everyone, thank you. Thank you, Carolyn. Give me a round of applause. Okay, because we don't have stage mics, we're just going to project. So everyone be very quiet. By the way, we're making this up and we're going to reenact what you just heard. I guess
First scene at the dentist getting her braces fixed. Mom, do I really need those?
Yes, your teeth are horrible. Just horrible. Look at you. You got your father's teeth.
I have my daddy's teeth?
Yes.
I don't want my daddy's teeth.
No. So we're going to put braces on these. Look, they look gorgeous.
Can I have my teeth?
Yes, they are still your teeth. Oh, such a special boy. Such a special boy. Yes, they're still your teeth, honey. It's just that you inherited teeth from your father. It's okay. It's okay. Let's have you stand up here. Go ahead and close your mouth. Oh, you make mommy so proud. So very proud. Yes, your teeth will be perfect. Do you understand? You will not have your father's teeth.
Yes. That's my boy. It's your birthday. I'm going to see you, son. Hi, Daddy. Well, I thought I'd like to chip off the old block, eh? Yeah. Mommy said I have your teeth. Yeah, that's a good thing too. You still have them. I've got some story about these teeth I can tell you.
Time to spin the bottle.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. It's
Hey, you guys, let's spin the bottle. Have you had that game yet?
I've heard of it. My daddy spins the bottle every day.
Wow, great. Fantastic. You guys play together?
Now he spins alone.
Okay, that's a little weird. Okay,
So what's the rules?
I don't know. I just feel like maybe we should have one people here.
My daddy always just picks it up.
They understand. Oh my gosh.
Don't worry, girl. Just spin it.
Okay.
It's you. Oh no, it's not. What a coincidence. How about a little? You're gonna kiss me now. Ready? Oh, I'm going.
Oh my god. That's hysterical.
Cut to 10 years later. So, good morning. Do you feel like eating pizza tonight? Or do you want I love chicken curry.
Great job, guys. Thank you. That's really good. As you can tell, we're making that up on the spot and we don't know what we're doing. Oh, great. So now I want to introduce to you the first performer of the evening. Her name is Heidi Green. Woo! Oh, wait a minute. No, Nora. Sorry. I don't have the runner show. I told her it would be wonky. Nora, would you please join me on the stage?
Oh, yeah.
And Camille, will you please join me on the stage? I just want to introduce these two lovely women. They are going to be our palate cleansers, and they're going to cleanse our palate through poetry. So throughout the evening, they'll be coming on and off the stage, just sharing poetry with you. And that is so that's the only time I'm going to introduce you. Nora is an amazing erotic poet, and she has a commitment to creating sensuality and aliveness in the world. Camille told me she sent me a poem about an hour ago. And I had two storytellers actually tell me they couldn't come, and I'm like, Camille, just come and tell the poetry. So this is her first time writing a poem. She sent it to me, and then performing the poem. Okay? All right, so great. So we're going to start with Nora.
Hi, everybody. So it's my first time performing my poetry, so. I forgot what it felt like to be entangled amongst the flowers of your skin, to feel my sighs caress my inner thighs. Sweet surrender. To melt into the depth of my desires, deep, deep, deep into you. I forgot what it felt like to sweat inside, unashamed to be me, to trust the softening of my edges, slowly unraveling, to look into your eyes, lost in the being, not doing. I forgot what it felt like to be ravished by touch, aroused with each breath. I forgot what it felt like. I forgot.
Beautiful spirit. Okay, now our first storyteller, the beautiful Heidi Green. Heidi Green, will you go ahead and join me on the stage?
Woo!
Yes, a big round of applause for the amazing Heidi. So I'm just going to tell you how these people are in with me and my relationship. If you want to know more about them, you go to the event page and there's their bios there. Heidi, what I consider Heidi is one of the most adventurous women in the world.
Yeah!
She has swung wide many times in her life and evolved in many different ways. And you'll be hearing some of the story in a song that she has written. You'll get the sense of who she is. But what you're witnessing right here is somebody who is committed to play, committed to transformation, and committed to love.
Oh yeah.
So enjoy.
Woo!
Thank you, Colleen. So this is a little bit funny because I am currently working, I'm an artist and a designer and a writer, and Colleen said to me, you know, like I write for my job, she said, do you want to come and perform at my writer's event? I was like, yeah, sure, great. And she said, Joe, you want to read the brief? I was like, no, it's fine, I'll do it. And I had no idea what this event actually was. And about a week ago, I read it, I was like, oh shit. So as it turns out, I've actually got some very humiliating but hopefully entertaining material for you, which is kind of new for me to perform this style of writing. So I'm going to start with this is actually an excerpt from a book that I'm writing, which is about some of my crazy adventures, and then I'm going to write a song. I'm going to play a song which I wrote literally like a week and a half ago, and I used to be a songwriter a very long time ago, but I haven't played in many years, so this is a little bit scary as well. So I'm also, like, this is all new stuff for me as well. So I'm going to have to read off my notes. All right, you ready?
Yeah! Do it to us.
I was married for 17 years. The end of my marriage was inevitable, but even when it did come, even after every alternative had been attempted and exhausted, I wasn't ready. I was heartbroken, disillusioned, devastated, but mainly I was scared. I was 36 years old, and I'd only ever had sex with one man. What would it even be like with somebody new? would I even meet someone that I could love again? And there was the fear of giving up the companionship of the only man that I'd really deeply known. But most of all, there was this. I'd given birth to 3 children. So there was this fear. What would my naked childbearing body even look like to a new man? Well, I met Gabriel less than 2 weeks after the final throes of my marriage breakup. My husband and I had both agreed mutually that we would start dating other people to help us both move on. I had no desire to actually start dating yet, but I knew, much like ripping off a band-aid, that I would just have to get out there and give it a go, and that the longer I left it, the harder it would be. I was at a friend's place when I saw him. I looked across the room and his eyes met mine. He was quite a bit older than me, tall and grey-haired. He looked like a man who'd lived and loved and lost. His eyes were intense and surrounded by heavy creases that spoke of emotions he had obviously lived deeply. I didn't notice a lot else about him. I was too absorbed in his face. We stared at each other, and as the gaze deepened, suddenly, out of nowhere, tears began welling up in my eyes. I'd been properly looked at for the first time in years, and I'd felt invisible before this. So when Gabriel stared across the room and into my eyes and truly saw me, the dam broke. I didn't know his name. I didn't know who he was, but as my tears began falling, he stepped straight towards me, took me in his arms and whispered, "Hey, it's okay," bending his head down and murmuring into my ear. His voice was deep and gentle, and I knew that I'd been seen. That truth alone was enough for me to face all my fears. I wept and buried my face in this stranger's chest, and then neither of us wanted to let go. It turned out to be far easier than I had imagined to have sex with Gabriel. Gabriel was sensitive and kind, and I felt safe with him. Perhaps that's why I allowed myself to fall so easily straight into his arms, and then to be drawn into his mouth until a few days later we found ourselves sitting in my lounge room discussing our desires. "I'm not sure we should do this," said Gabriel. "You're in a big transition and I'm not sure this is a good idea." "I know," I said, "but we're like magnets." And then we immediately both reached for each other. I pulled his head down towards mine, started kissing his mouth and twisting my fingers through his long hair. He began tugging my clothes off and gently drawing me into the bedroom. Before I knew it, we were both standing naked at the bottom of the bed. And that's when I realised, in the short days that I'd known this man, I'd only ever really looked into Gabriel's eyes. Everything else had simply faded away. He had such magnetic, wise, well-lived face. Perhaps I hadn't been able to actually get beyond it. I'd never really looked at the rest of Gabriel. And so, for a moment, I stepped back and took him in. The first thing I noticed was that Gabriel's hair actually wasn't that grey after all. He actually had pretty sexy hair. It was more sun-bleached than grey, and it fell in soft waves down his neck. Then it occurred to me that he wasn't actually that old either. His eyes were old, but the rest of him was actually quite young and vibrant. His skin was tanned and glowing with youth. Actually, his skin was flawless. He looked like he'd been fucking photoshopped. How had I not noticed? I'd been too busy crying into his ancient eyes. I hadn't noticed that the rest of him was from another generation. As I dragged my face back towards those soulful eyes, one thing was becoming glaringly evident. My desire for Gabriel had not been misplaced. Gabriel was not a monk. He was not an angel. He was a Greek fucking god. He was a movie star. He was muscled and toned from his ankles to his neck. He could have been carved out of pure gold. His feet were beautiful. His legs were long. He was huge in every way. Even his chest muscles were bigger than my breasts. Naked, Gabriel was goddamn sexy as fuck. I was shocked. After years of worrying what sex would be like after marriage, after childbirth, after fears of no sex or terrible sex, or sex with people I wasn't attracted to, this is what I'd been handed? Where in the hell had this man even come from? And how had he ended up in my bedroom? I was frozen in disbelief. Luckily, Gabriel didn't seem to notice. He pulled me into his arms, and as we tumbled into bed, he picked me up, held me above his huge chest, and looked me up and down. He didn't seem to notice that I'd had 3 children. "This is a very nice body you have," he smirked. "But, oh shit." He stopped and looked me over again, this time regretfully. "You're tiny," he sighed. "I'm going to be way too big for you." By this point, I'd actually lost my ability to speak. I just shook my head silently and pulled him towards me. "Too big? Too big? I don't think so. Nothing was too big for me. I may have only had 1 man, but I'd had 3 children. Too big was definitely not going to be a problem." How embarrassing. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna have to have a glass of water before I keep going.
Oh, is that the end? Yeah.
Sorry, this isn't actually my guitar. There is a reason I don't know where the hole is. Did everyone get that? So this is a totally brand new song. And I only wrote this about a week ago. So, and I haven't played music in a lot of years. So, enjoy. I once knew a man who had cigarette skin. He whispered, "My love, you're a wonderful thing." And then he kissed me like a demon, and I made him sing, and we danced across the room till I was aching. He once knew a girl who could kill you with her smile. She broke his defenses, drove him wild. But what's my crime? I just love like I do. So tell me why I shouldn't want you to, 'cause I don't wanna hold back before I begin. If I could love you less, would you let me in?
Oh yeah.
by 10,000 spies. They broke down my door and they fought till I was one. I was cowered in the corner with nowhere to run. He once knew a girl with animal eyes. She broke his defenses, he ran for his life. But what's my crime? I just love like I do. So tell me why I shouldn't want you to, 'cause I don't wanna hold back all I begin. If I could love you less, would you let me in? 'Cause you told me that a galaxy of stars were in my eyes, and that if we let go, let this flow, you might not make it out alive. But what's my crime? I just love like I do. So tell me why I shouldn't want you to, 'cause I don't wanna hold back before I begin. If I could love you less, would you let me in? I once knew a man stroked the back of his head as we stared at the ceiling. He turned to me and said, can you get into your body and out of your head? 'Cause we could be something if you would be less. So I curled in his arms and I whispered to his chest, my mind is broken, my body is dead. But what's my crime? I just love like I do. So tell me why I shouldn't want you to, 'cause I don't wanna hold back before I begin. If I could love you less, would you let me in? What's my crime? I just love like I do. Tell me why I shouldn't want you to.
Amazing.
Woo! Yeah, that was amazing, right?
Heidi, we love you.
It's so beautiful, Heidi. So that do you get taking that risk meant something to them? Yeah, great. So the song is about being too much and feeling like you have to change and pull something in order to be loved. Has anyone ever felt that way before? Yeah. So it's such a beautiful song because it's so relatable. Because we feel like we can't be us. We feel like we can't be self-expressed out there, like sharing in the world and just being full on. We have to be appropriate. Unfortunately, no one ever said, oh my God, have you ever met Josh? He's so appropriate. So fuck being appropriate. Be like Heidi. Okay, great. Our next storyteller is Ollie. I don't know last names, so my introductions are going to be short and sweet. Ollie, I met by the pool at the beautiful place that I'm staying in that a friend of mine gifted me to stay in her villa. Actually, the woman, Carolyn, who came up and talked about the first kiss. And something I love about Ollie is that he jumped in willing to do this. And I saw his story evolve and this mythical, amazing thing that you get to share with people. I just, I'm really honored that you're here sharing the stage with me. Thank you. Ollie, everybody.
Please dim the lights down a little bit more. Is that okay? Okay, story time. Okay, so I wrote a song, I wrote a story called The Scuba Diver and the Mermaid. When the scuba diver first caught a glimpse of the mermaid, he thought she was a dolphin. During his daily rounds of exploring marine life, she got used to him being in her world revealed herself more freely. She saw that he meant no harm. In fact, he seemed very focused on removing the noxious starfish that was strangling her gorgeous garden of a billion colors. Over time, they got to know each other more and more. He was surprised to find out she didn't eat fish and subsisted on a diet of non-conscious sea life like kelp, uni, sea cucumbers, and oysters. She said that this was unusual and almost all of her friends loved fish. Being from such different worlds, their romance had its challenges. For example, he could never fall asleep underwater in case his mouthpiece slipped out and he ended up drowning to death. Similarly, she could never see him in his homeland above the surface, where she herself couldn't breathe. He would always be a visitor dressed in armor that protected his delicate skin and warm blood from the pillowy depths of the bottomless blue expanse. One sec, sorry. Despite these limitations, they found a physical and emotional union in the sand craters scattered throughout the warmer waters of the reef. Amongst ornate sculptures painted with colors from another world, she taught him how to discuss philosophical issues with the octopi and negotiate safe passageways through the glistening caves of the ill-tempered moray eels. In kind, he would teach her how to use parts of sunken shipwrecks to slice through trawling nets that were coming more and more these days. Together they educated numerous families of sea creatures about the perils of eating plastic. It was a confusing existence, and often the mermaid would wonder, why was she even with this human? His people shared no values in common with her own. In her quiet moments, the mermaid's sadness felt like it was swallowing her, but each day they found new energy and beauty from their oceanic home. Every day there were exquisite wonders. Together they swam with glowing schools of snapper through galaxies of incandescent jellyfish. Shimmering clouds of anchovies undulated as they listened to blue whales weave tales of ancient wisdom. This was their epic world, their community, and their purpose in life. Also, the scuba diver was different to the other mermen. All they cared about was fishing and other earthfish water sports. Alas, as their relationship matured, cracks started to develop. While their sex life was exciting, he would always find himself physically wounded after their lovemaking. During their acts of passion, the intensity of their pleasure would obscure the fact that their organs weren't entirely compatible. His human skin was delicate and fragile, while her skin was that of a mammal of the ocean, built to withstand a shark attack. He would leave with sexual wounds, yet he loved her so much that he would keep this to himself. She was not without her doubts either. She had met this strange guy from above the surface in her younger years, when all she really cared about was having fun. Now all her friends were having babies, and she was the odd one out. She was the only one of her kind. She was the only one of her kind with a human lover that was genetically incapable of giving her a child. As time passed, the diver's visits grew to be shorter and less frequent. Sometimes when he did visit her at the reef, he seemed preoccupied. He even started spending time with the broy mermen, going fishing and doing other blokey men's business. Then one day, while tending to the remote outskirts of her coral garden, the mermaid saw the diver with another girl. She was peeking above the surface and was stunned to see them together in each other's fragile human arms. Later, when she confronted him, she was surprised when he admitted it was true straight away. How could she be so blind? There were two different species from two different worlds. The end.
I wrote this poem for my husband, Taylor. The poem is called If. If there was a poem in me, an ode to you, to us two, it would be a poem like so few that I've written. It would be a poem like so few that I've written because I don't write poetry. And yet, my heart sings of you. If the poem were like a beetle, scared scarab, tiny teetering on a wall, it would take flight towards you, my son, and bathe itself iridescent in your light.
I'm at a 5-star hotel in Bali on the river in the middle of the jungle. The candles are laid out next to the river. The moon is ripe. It is, needless to say, romantic. The women that are with me are talking about how there's not that many men in Bali. And as I grab both of them up to say, hey ladies, let's go up to the top and see if we can get something to eat. As they're still complaining about the men's situation, we have to sneak by on a narrow bridge 2 guys, unnoticed to my friends being so committed to their story. We order some food, and knowing Bali time, I decide I'm gonna have to get some chips because I'm hungry. I grab a basket of chips, me and my girlfriends walk out to the small cliff and we're overlooking the natural pools. It is stunning. As we're chatting and I'm holding my basket of chips, I see him. He's looking at me. I look back at him. I look down at my chips. I look back at him. I look down at my chips. Want one? He slowly makes his way over to me. And I finish my conversation with my girlfriends as he grabs his first chip. Then I turn to him and I ask his name, and we get into a beautiful conversation about the beautiful moon, the beautiful river, the beautiful candles. By the end of the conversation, he asked for my number, and I give it to him. He wanted to ask me on a date. As he walked away, I noticed something funny had happened. My girlfriends had made their way behind me like a small child who was embarrassed, like a little girl was embarrassed to be around other people and it was their mom's leg. And I turned to them like, what is your problem? And they respond with a question. How do you do that? I'm like, do what? They're like, talk to men that way. And right then I realized I had a little mini seduction formula. I am looking for a man and a woman volunteer to see if we can reenact the seduction formula so that everyone can learn who is willing to come up on stage. 1 man, 1 woman. Come on up here, sexy. All right, look. Am I all say there's no men? Of course someone comes up for that! Oh, yeah! Okay, beautiful. So what I want to do is I wanted to give you a step-by-step information, like a knowledge about what happened between me and this guy. Now, creating seduction, one of the key things is creating this tension. Now, I had a basket of chips to create the intention, but most of us don't wander around with a basket of chips. So I'm going to teach you something called the double look. Double look is very simple, and it creates that tension. And it's the same thing as like I was doing with the chips. You want to connect, disconnect, connect, disconnect. So he's like, or she's that way. And it's just this little thing that you get to play with. And you'll get to know if they're interested in playing with you through doing this double look. Okay, so it's very simple. We're going to pretend that we are talking, okay? I'm sorry, what is your name?
Vlad.
Vlad. Vlad.
As in Vladimir.
As in Vladimir. You should definitely go by Vladimir. What's your name, sweetheart?
Antonina.
Antonina. Beautiful. Vladimir and Antonina. Sounds like a romance novel writing itself. Okay, great. So Vladimir, we're going to practice the double look. Actually, me and you right now are going to practice the double look. Oh, that's very kind. I'm actually not going to use this. I love that you gave this to me because most of us don't have the popcorn. But thank you, Martin. That was very smart of you. Okay, so I'm going to have you step over here with me. Yep, come on over here. And Vladimir, I'm just going to have you right here. I want to make sure that the audience can see me. Now, we're talking. We're going to be talking, right? We're talking. Yeah, it is very nice. I do like this hair product. And I'm going to see, I'm going to look at Vladimir, and I'm going to look back to my friend, and look back at Vladimir. So it's a double look. Actually, it's probably be facing like this way. So I'm talking to her. Looking back. I have to take another look at that. So what that's communicating to them is, one, your interest is like, I'm just looking around. I'm just looking, as I'm talking, just looking around. I see him like, oh my God, I have to go back to that. Okay, so I'm gonna have you guys practice, all right? Okay, great. Yes, but now you need to be facing the audience so people can see your double look action to see how you can do it. Right. Vladimir, you're gonna have to play just look, okay? Great, thank you.
Very ski.
Oh, we got a master in the house! Woo! That works, right? Okay, everyone grab a partner, and you're gonna pretend that you're looking at someone that you like. You're gonna pretend the double look. So you're talking to your partner, and then you're going to pretend the double look. Everyone take some time, look at your partner, and pretend the double look. You're going to practice this. Building rapport, breaking rapport. Building rapport, breaking rapport. I'll just give you a couple seconds. Great, I saw that. Great. Okay, unfortunately we don't have that much time, so we're going to have to move on. Okay, so the double look. Tension, building tension. The second part of the formula is you have to, at some point, have an offer. So my offer was, do you want a chip? You can have many offers. Can I get you a seat? Can I buy you a drink? An offer is also like, how are you? Any kind of thing where you start engaging. So some offer has to be done. Okay? So if you were going to offer her something, what would you offer her? Just come over and be like,
How about the dog?
Yes, thing we did.
How about the date? Flower.
Like Russian style,
okay, great. So the offer was made and she accepted the offer. Now they're playing the game. They're in the game. This is also for improv. You want to just play the game. There's certain games that we get to play inside of a relationship.
I want to say something.
Please.
So you look a bit scared in the street. Would you like to have a ride on a scooter?
Beautiful. Now they're going into negotiation. See how that works? Okay, great. Now, so the offer's been made. Here's a flower. We're going to use that. Now, the third thing that you want to do is you want to make some sort of physical connection. So the chips guy I was with, when we were talking, I just reached out and held his arm, and laughed. Creating that physical connection has him get out of his head and into his body, or the woman. And so you just want to make sure, though, that you're touching the right, you don't want to get inappropriate. The more you touch somebody, the more they trust you, as long as you're touching them and not in inappropriate places. It's weird. You cannot touch someone enough. They just feel like, oh, this person is so trustworthy. So just know, you can just get a little weird about it, and it's totally fine.
Sorry, would you please hold this?
Beautiful. I'm another master.
So much.
Okay, great. We're going to stop the seduction for me there just because we're running out of time. So double look, creating tension. Having someone has to have an offer and someone has to say yes. You have to have the seducer, but also the person who's willing to be seduced. So ask yourself, what game do you want to play? Do you want to be the seducer or do you want to be the one willing to be seduced? But if you don't have those two things, the likelihood of seduction or flirtation happening is very low. And then also physical touch brings you out of your head and into your body. Okay, thank you so much. That's the first time I've ever done it. Thank you so much, you guys, for volunteering and being so great. You guys are great. Oh gosh. I just made a total mess. That's all right. We're just gonna let that go there. Okay, all right. So the next person that we're gonna have on stage is Jem. Oh no, never mind. Nora's coming back. Of course, Nora's coming back. So it'd be great if you came. Yeah, perfect. Welcome, Nora.
Hi. Just avoid the mess down here. Enraptured by the taste of your words on my lips, held by the rhythm of your stillness. I got caught in between your inhale and exhale. A momentary flutter, the sharp intake of my breath. Me pausing, unwilling to separate me from you. Blindfolded in your arms, the flickering tension crystallizing the air. I counted the rainbows, knowing exactly the distance between me and you.
So sexy. Oh my god. Very awesome. Okay, Jem, would you please join me on stage? So Jem is a professor in sustainability, and I fell in love with him in comedy improv because when he came to comedy improv, I knew he was at his edge. I knew it wasn't something that naturally he gravitated to, but there was a reason he was there because he was committed to something for himself. And I just thought it was beautiful. And then he opened his mouth, and I was like, wow, this guy's interesting. And has something to say.
I haven't heard that before.
So Jem is going to introduce to you his film. We're going to have a film, and then we're going to have a short break.
So this is the first public showing of the first film I've ever made, and maybe the only film, or the only showing. It came about because Joey, who's here tonight as well, back there, he does some amazing films about Bali, and I thought it would be awesome to work with him. The film is about my own torrid love affair since I was 15, and she is everything to me, and perhaps everything to you too. And the last few years, this love affair has become quite heartbreaking. And so I meet a lot of people who are equally heartbroken about how much of an abusive relationship it's become. So that's the idea behind the film. I will, so 8 minutes, and then the break. So it's a still movie. accept the full tragedy of climate change, what do we have left? Most people I meet sense that life is meaningful. Belief in a future is one way we look for such meaning. A future for ourselves and our family, our community, country, and the planet. It's why it's so difficult to accept where we are today. What future can we believe in now? And if that isn't possible, where can we find meaning? I left my job as a professor and came to Bali to sink into those questions and to grieve. I grieve for my lost years, lost to compromise. I grieve the loss of my identity. I grieved how I may not grow old. I grieve for those closest to me and the fear and pain that they may feel as things break down. And I grieve for all humanity, and especially the young. Within this despair, something else happened. My long-held defenses began to melt away. I was opening up. Most Balinese seem so at ease with their life. In the temples in every household, children play at the symbolic graves of their grandparents. That's not like our modern societies, where we seem to hide death away. Could feeling the impermanence of everything be an invitation to experience life more fully? I was drawn to connect more to myself, to others, and to nature. Breathwork, dance, fasting, improv theatre, chanting, circling, and guided meditation. I was opening to beauty and spontaneity, to connect without expectation, to create without certainty, and to welcome what's transcendent into my life. I see now that love can be the anchor during waves of anxiety, sadness, and grief. I was reminded of how my friend with terminal cancer experiences more gratitude and wonder, and how our last meeting was more beautiful due to the ending ahead. Awareness of the finite amount of time we have on this earth gives more power to the choices we make. So what of our future? My vision is of a world where more of us are open to curious, kind and joyful connection with all life. My hope is we will discuss ideas without a want to prove ourselves right. Because there will be tough decisions ahead, but we can make universal love our compass as we enter an entirely new physical and psychological terrain.
The only way to be. There's no use telling me. There's no use taking a step back from me.
And so I was ready to engage with my profession again, but with a faith to express my truth, however difficult. Opening a conference at the United Nations, there really was only one thing for me to say. We now know that many self-reinforcing feedbacks have begun to further warm our planet, threatening to take the future out of our hands. So if we don't wake up from our delusions of what is really pragmatic and appropriate, then shame on us. It's our intention for creating things that needs to more often arise out of love for each other and for creation. The technology we really seek now is love. Feeling our pain at the ongoing destruction of life, we may find relief in the idea of a divine force beyond this time and place. But if doing so, let's not withdraw from our fellow humanity. climate chaos invites our loving immersion with life as we find it. We can rise into, not above, these times.
The Earth is not a big rock infested with living organisms, any more than your skeleton is bones infested with cells. The Earth is geological, yes, but this geological entity grows people. And so the existence of people is symptomatic of the kind of universe we live in.
We may grieve the loss of life and feel despair or anger at how this happened. But whenever it comes, human extinction would not be the end of consciousness or the cosmic story. There is no way to escape despair, but there is a way through despair. It is to love more than we fear death. So ours is not a time to curl up or turn away. It's a time to dance like we've never danced before. Joey, come up. Just so that people can see the amazing video
So has anyone ever experienced that a time when you knew something was going to end and how precious it was? Maybe it was a box of Oreo cookies. And all of a sudden you're like tasting them very small, eating small bites. Maybe it was a relationship, time at a job, time in a city. But this new filter that you've created around the idea of the preciousness of this may all end, and we have no idea what's going to happen. But how do we bring love to it? And I love the question that you asked. What is love calling for us to do now is what I got.
Yeah, what does love invite of us now?
What does love invite of us now? So
More
it's an invitation.
films from Joey.
So great. Okay, so we are way behind schedule. Thank you guys. Sorry, I'm going to something that's going on. Thank
you, Colleen, for letting us show it.
Yeah.
We're going to do some edits before we release it anywhere. So
it's beautiful, Jim.
Find Joey on the.
Yeah, really beautiful. And then he get up and talks to the UN about the technology of love. Who fucking does that? Jen does it. Okay, so we're way behind. So, do you guys need a break, or should we just keep on going? I think we should just keep on going. If you need a break, just go to the bathroom and come back. You'll miss some really great shit, but that's okay. Okay, beautiful. That just means I need to get my head on straight. Just give me 2 seconds, 2 seconds. Yeah, go pee if you need to. Oh, improvers need to go to the bathroom. Okay, so we're gonna have improvers. You have to go to the bathroom. Is that what I'm hearing? Okay, great. So we're gonna have Nora come back. Oh my God, you guys are gonna love this. Okay, the men though should definitely not leave for this one part, but you can watch the video. Okay, Nora, please.
Here's this one. Men, I wrote this one specifically for you. Just like scanning the room. Where are they all? My beloved men, this is for you. Know that we are here, standing our ground, witnessing your radiant beauties, waiting for you to fully blossom, so that we may soak up the sun's rays with sweet smiles and feel the playful wind caressing our petals. My beloved men, this is for you. We don't care to see that you're a man's man. That harshness, bruteness, better than you-ness doesn't match up to your radiance. We want you to know that your softness can slip through the cracks and slowly melt your heart into ours, the cracks you try and hide, covered in shame, because you need to be a man's man. We long to feel the softness, to stand by your side as the melting makes us quiver. More, we say, more. Melt the fear, the needs, the worry, and the striving to be that man. Be this man instead, softly open. My beloved men, this is for you. We are the women who crave the men that show up with all their sides open for loving. Be real, be vulnerable. Show us the conflicts that torment your dreams, for when you awaken, your ego feeds the very soil you stand upon. It grows dry and brittle, the seeds gasp for water, and yet you hang on so tightly, afraid of the flood. Be calm, my men. Our hands are empty, palms outstretched, waiting for you to place your dreams into them so together we can mold it into castles of joy. Come play with us, toes tingling as we dig in deeper into the earth wind, softly kissing our necks as we dance under the skies of rose-scented stars. My beloved men, this is for you. Look around you, see your brothers, also longing, pleading, needing you. Come together. Hold on to each other's hearts like you would hold on to the last rays of sunlight if you knew the sun would never rise again. Be soft. Be open. Be gentle. Know that this man, and this man, and this man too, is just afraid as you to drop to his knees to surrender. To whom? To you. And when all the men around you are on their knees just like you, knees which are damp from the tears us women have shed as we witness your sweet falling, know that it is from here that we can rise, leading from the calling within, and that comes only from the darkest corner of surrender. My beloved men, this is for you. Know that us women are here, standing our ground. Sweet smiles playing on our lips as we see you slowly slip off the facade of who you thought you were. My beloved men, we long to see you, to feel your you-ness caress our inner being, gently softly, opening wide, not afraid to surrender to more of you. my beloved men, it's okay to be afraid, and it's okay to do it anyway.
So stunning. Okay, so we're going to do a little comedy improv for you guys. So, is there any couple in the house? Is there a couple in the house? Yeah? Fantastic. Would you be willing to talk to us about your first date? Yeah? Okay, come on up and join us on the stage. Everybody give them a round of applause. Beautiful. Wait a minute. Don't talk about it until you get the microphone. Okay, beautiful. Sweetheart, what's your name?
Shannon.
Shannon, great. Thank you, honey.
Eric.
Eric and Shannon. All right, beautiful. So, Shannon, I'd like for you to express the first date, and then I would also like to hear from you, Eric. Just like what happened, okay?
Okay, so our first date happened because my friend and I made a New Year's resolution in 2009. We decided that we had been too good in 2008, that we had focused too much on our careers, and it left no room for dating. So we decided to call 2009 Naughty 9. We actually came up with a point system, and you could not, once you got all the points with one person, you could not continue getting points. You had to move on to the next person. So that was January 1st, 2009. Little did I know that I was going to meet my future husband 8 days later. So the way this happened is, so we lived in Washington, D.C. It was right before Obama's inauguration, and D.C. became like this huge party scene. There's just parties all the time. It's a very exciting time. And my friend, her name was Arley, she was interested in Eric's roommate. So she called me one night. It was freezing in DC that night. It was like negative 18 degrees. And I was like, I'm not going out. And she goes, oh yes, you are. We made a New Year's resolution. It's called Naughty 2009. So you're getting your butt off your sofa. You're taking a shot of vodka if that's what you need. And you're meeting me at this bar because there's this guy that I'm gonna hook up with. And I need you as my wing woman. And also you're gonna find a guy too, okay? And so I dragged my butt out of the house, all bundled up, and showed up at this bar. Well, the guy she was interested in was such a D-bag. He sees me and he goes, hey Toots. And I'm thinking, this is the guy you're interested in? And he was...
Not me.
It wasn't me. And and he's like already falling down.
But that's okay, I'm gonna be a douchebag soon, so just wait.
He's already falling down drunk. And I'm thinking, I don't want to meet your friends, because he keeps saying, my friends are coming, that's cool, you're gonna have some guys here in a second. And I'm like, I don't want to meet your friends. And so then this guy shows up. And I'm thinking, I just don't even want anything to do with any of these guys. So I have my back turned and I'm like totally closed off to this whole situation. I'm talking to another girlfriend and I hear him talking to another girl and he goes, yeah, I'm Cuban. I just actually went to Cuba. I'm a photographer. I turned around and I was like, hello. I'm Shannon. I just went to Guatemala. Tell me about Cuba. Next thing you know, we're talking. My friend Arley at this point.
I knew that line would work eventually.
We're talking. Next thing I know, my drunk friend Arley, this time she's very drunk. She goes, we're going dancing. We're going next door to another bar. We're going dancing. And I was like, sorry, I'm with my girlfriend. Gotta go dancing. He goes, I'll go with you. So we walk into this dance club. I lose him, and I'm like, where's this guy I was talking to? He's hitting on another woman. I don't see him the rest of the night at all, but I say, it's cool. I'm gonna dance it off. So I dance it off, I'm good. I'm like, I don't need men. I'm cool, I'm 25, I'm good. I'll meet someone else. So we're walking home,
And it was impossible to get a cab that night. And so we're walking, and there's no cab, so they all decide everyone's gonna walk Shannon home. Next thing we know, this guy comes out of the club drunk, and he comes up to me and he's like, hey, we were talking earlier. I want to tell you about this amazing woman I just met. He proceeds to tell me about the woman he just met in the bar. Little did he know about my naughty 9 pact. So the next weekend, we're all hanging out again, and I'm like, you're gonna give me some points. 10 years later, we're married. That was our first date.
How can I possibly follow that?
Okay, I'm just gonna ask you some specific questions. Okay, so tell me, when you met her, what were you thinking in your head?
I was thinking, hey, my Cuba line worked.
Great. Okay, perfect. And then, what did you think when she was like you didn't know this, but what did you think? She's like, I'm gonna get some points on this guy. Tell me a little bit about that. How did she make a move on you? Did you make a move on her? Was she open to the move? What happened in that area?
Okay, so actually, I should tell them about the three. This is not something that I've ever done before and never did since, obviously.
The three?
Yeah, 3 questions. It was really weird. The next week, so we see each other. The next weekend, we see each other in a bar. We've been drinking. I'm with my guy friend. She's with her girlfriends. And her girlfriend, Aleli.
I should add, she gave me a little pep talk before we went to the bar. She was like, hey, that guy Eric is gonna be there, so you're gonna make this happen.
I had no idea that points are like on the table here and that I'm like, the target. And I've been drinking, and I am not interested in finding a wife. This is not like why I was in the bar that night. And this was not like a game that I'd ever played before. And she walks up to me, and I see her like in the distance, she downs a drink and just like slams it down and walks to me. And I was like, all right, so I down my drink, and she comes up to me.
We all have different seduction formulas.
This was the weirdest thing. I looked at her, and anybody ever seen the movie Uncle Buck, where young Macaulay Culkin is like asking a series of questions, and what's his name? He died. What's his name? John Candy's like answering. He's like, this is the fastest series of questions I've ever asked, whatever. I looked at her, and I actually consider myself a spiritual person now, but I was an atheist then. And I looked at her and I said, do you believe in God? And she said, so this is like literally lightning round. I said, do you believe in God? She said, no. I said, do you have a good relationship with your parents? She said, yes. I said, do you want to have kids? She said, no. And we just started making out.
Perfect. And the scene. Thank you very much. Beautiful, beautiful story. Thank you. Okay, we are going to enact it exactly how it happens.
Ladies and gentlemen, as your president, I want to announce 2008 has been a very busy year for me. Michelle has said 2009 will change. We're gonna be more busy at home, in the bedroom. 2009 is gonna be naughty 9.
Eric, what's that point system again, before we go out? Well, if he's a man, he gets a point. If he can talk, he gets a point. If he can... That's 2 points. Got it. Like a drink? on, yes, I'll get you. You know what that one guy said to me? I've been to Cuba and I've been taking pictures. That line on me. No points for that guy.
And you liked it?
Yeah, no points still.
No points.
Excuse me, ladies. My name's Eric, but you can call me Dad. I just made a cute bird. He looks like a different guy. Excuse me, I see another lady over here for a second. When I meet a guy, where did she go? When I meet a guy, I want him to believe in God. And vodka.
That's exactly what I was saying. I'm going to take a shot of vodka.
I want him to be spiritual, if you know what I mean. Like spiritual. Excuse me, ladies. I know my name. Hello. Can I get to second base with you?
Points!
2! I'm a man. 3! And we were talking earlier, weren't we? He's off the charts. You're mine, baby.
All right, big round of applause for the improv troupe. Four minus 1. Okay, beautiful. Very good. And thank you guys so much. I mean, I feel like I should have had booked you for the storytelling of it. That was amazing. That was really amazing. Oh my gosh, you guys. So we have the only professional in this whole hodgepodge of people. Coming up, Kai Mata. Kai Mata is an amazing angel, and she, and her voice will tell you that. But she also has, I would say, what would you say, a naughty side or a salty side? She has a salty side. And you are going to witness that in her second song. So men, grab your crotches. It'll be over soon.
Quick question. Any LGBTQIA plus family in the house besides me, or am I alone here? Who's shouting? Come up here if you are. Just one person. But if you are, come up here. I want to talk to you. I need friends. You know, this is weirdly spiritual, but you know, like a spiritual I'll make out with a girl because, you know, we're at an ecstatic dance, but that's all. So, if you are in the queer family, please come up. Hello, lovely. Hi, what is your name?
Aisha.
Aisha, hi there. Well, I have a gift for you. This is my album called Time to Shine. Released it last year here at Betelnut. Thanks, Tara. So, Aisha, I'm going to have you make a big decision for me, okay? We can either keep the flow going and have a really upbeat song that is about the enchantments of falling in love for the first time with someone of the same sex, or we can talk about the heartbreak. Which one do you want? And that was painful. So, you know, either way's fine.
Let's go with enchantment.
We're going with enchantment. Ooh, not expected. Okay, thank you very much, Aisha. Enjoy the CD. So I'm going to play the title track of this album called Time to Shine. I've been waiting. You've been trying to find the butterflies, to feel just right, to live this life so true. We've been hopeful a change is gonna come. They'll see our love. They'll be happy for our love. The more we sing, the more they know why. It's been a long time coming, but a change is gonna come. How many times must we walk this road? We hear bluebirds fly somewhere over this rainbow. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, 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 shine. It's time. This is our time. This is our time to shine. This is our time. This is our time. This is our time. This is our time to shine. This is our time. This is our time. And I'm not waiting when you are shining. I found my little light. This feels just right with you. Bluebirds fly in truth. Thank God I found myself. I found myself. I found myself the day I met you. First time playing that this year and being single, which is recent. Woo! Never been single in my adult life. Someone please take my hand and lead me into a path where I can figure out what to do. This next song I wrote after a response of, actually a lot of people heard that first song, a lot of straight men I would say. And they had this wide-eyed wonder like, oh my gosh, two girls who make out and do other things. I want to be a part of that. So this is a song basically talking about answering all the questions they've had. A lot of people are very curious about this. It's like they're going to Disneyland for the first time and they think it's the most fun. They just lust after it. It's pretty great. So this is a song called So Hard. Come and hear the words they say. Are you bi or are you gay? Oh well, I thought you were straight. What a pity, such a shame. You both look so feminine. Don't you miss it with a go and lust and fantasize, but nothing more. Despite your tries, I don't need a dictator to tell me what I need. No, this isn't just a phase. It doesn't even work that way. You think you can turn me straight? Well, maybe I can turn you gay. Oh, did I just cross a line? 'Cause you've been overstepping mine. It seems your masculinity suffers insecurity. So go and lust and fantasize, but nothing more. Despite your tries, I don't need a dictator to tell me what I need. Well, is it so hard seeing two girls in love? So hard, as if it's not enough. So hard, it's only okay 'cause it makes you hard. Is it so hard seeing two girls in love? So hard, as if it's not enough. So hard, it's only okay 'cause it makes you hard. So go and lust and fantasize, but nothing more. Despite your tries, I don't need a dictator. I don't need a dictator. I don't need your dictator to tell me what I need. That song drops June 1st, so please, I don't know, get to know me and you'll get the song later.
That was amazing. Thank you, Kai. I don't know what to say after that. I've got nothing. This is freaking amazing. All right, so because I actually have nothing, but it was so brilliant, and I just want to say that I saw some of the men because I was concerned. I'm like, how are the men going to take this? But I saw you bright-eyed laughing, so thank you just for being great about it and get it. So beautiful. Okay, so the next person I am going to call onto the stage is Sienna. Sienna is a wild woman. The type of woman that will take an old motorcycle and travel around Europe by herself for months. The type of woman that will grab a man, put that in the back of the motorcycle, take him for a spin, and drop him off in the middle of nowhere. Sienna is somebody you want to know and that you want to hear a story from. Please, Sienna, come on.
Wow, what an intro. So, in the act of desiring to be authentic with you, I would love to share with you what I imagine that you would like to hear. It's a bit like sex when you meet someone and your chemistry is there and you're like, okay, I see feel how this is going. So looking out at the crowd, I see more female faces than male faces. And for that, I want to talk about sex. I have a background in that, and it's mostly not in my dating life per se, but it's about talking about sex in a way that gives us the freedom to experience that connection however we desire. I grew up in a really alternative community where my mother at age 12 gave me a book called Our Bodies, Ourselves. So there were lots of diagrams of the penis and the vagina. You could love men or women or both. And it was about me deciding what excited me the most. And I tried with myself and failed. I laugh at that because it was several hours. Anyhow, moving forward to age 20, my mother got me a certificate weekend for learning about Tantra. And what changed in that is just mere definition of the same act. And instead of being connected to things like dick, which you could also hear as like, you dickhead, which was confusing because I was like, isn't that a male organ that I should desire? Or you pussy, and thinking like, wow, isn't that like a thing that birthed you and like really strong? Like, how is that weak? And so suddenly in Tantra, it was lingam. And that's the male phallus, which meant sheath of light. Like, well, okay, wow, I'm mounting that, or that's mounting me. Or yoni, which was sacred space. And so, wow, you're entering a sacred space. Like, does that mean cosmic? And yes, it did. And so with that, created a whole new experience. Like, the tantric style of lovemaking, so different than what I'd experienced in the media, where it was this, oh my God, ravishing, yes, it's so hot, oh yeah, and you know, a lot of males not knowing what was going on with my sacred space, and not going on with what was their lingam. Like, virtually, males have a wand of light. It's like Harry Potter come to life, where he's like, orgasm, and you're like, oh yeah. Or, you know, Star Wars, where you're like, wow, that's a lightsaber. And we were taught in Tantra to feel that deeply. Like, as a male is like, you're breathing that in, like, wow, that's your wand of light. And taught to make sounds like, and receiving that. And knowing that it's coming out of our heart, knowing that that's coming through the cosmos as two people helix. Like, it defined everything so differently. And I was 20. So imagine then my lifetime, like Colleen spoke of, a dating world where you don't meet someone and my prerogative is not to marry them. My prerogative is to become lovers with them, to open up in vulnerability, to have my heart and my mind and my body touched, moved, inspired into new forms and ways of being and expression. But I was dealing with an archetype of thinking, in a way, that had nothing to do with that. So the challenge of intimacy and not knowing what that is, and so much of intimacy having to do with our definition of that. So removing the dickhead, removing the dictation, and recognizing that we're stepping into an artistic form of expression. Or anything, it can be like a Pollock thing, it can be Monet, like the beautiful water lilies, or I don't know, orchids. It can be lots of things. And like, that's what's exciting. Like, every time I meet someone and that feeling is there, like if I'm on Tinder, I've never dated really anyone on Tinder, but they're an experiment of connection, because connection is something that is not just like how someone looks or pheromones. Maybe it can be that great, amazing eye contact, but it's a feeling. It's intuitive, it's electric, it has a thinking of its own, and it talks directly to my sex, and it's like, we want him. And I've tried with wanting the opposite, or the same sex, and my vagina's like, yeah, she's so great, but no. So, for me, I know my body, and I think a lot about sex is knowing our bodies. And what's crazy to me, is that we launched spaceships into the stratosphere, and we discovered the genome before we actually discovered the shape of the clitoris. So women, men, who here knows a quick definition of the clitoris? What, anyone? Like, I've read like a bean, or like something. Does anyone know that? No. So in 2009, they finally did an MRI scan on the shape of the clitoris. Whoa! And guess what? It is not just the tip of something, a bean. It is actually this large wishbone. You know! That's amazing. You must have good size. That also goes into your body. So if 25% of women have an orgasm just from sex without exterior stimulation, like they have a larger network. It's kind of like having a big penis. Like, wow, lucky fucking you. And so for me, like I have a medium-sized one. So it's a bit like going to a massage therapist where I can like circle the body parts that I love and I want touched and know what pressure I want. Only that's not exchanged in dating. It's a silent thing. It's small hints like through, oh, that's good. Like, yeah. And the times I've tried to actually instruct a male on like what to do, of course, that's somehow not exciting for him. And why? I'm like, I'm giving you the fucking keys to the kingdom. And they're like, we don't want it because like suddenly I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, okay, I hear you. So what if men knew what they were doing? What if men knew that, wow, the clitoris is like all through the labia. And it goes inside. And so those women the 25% that can have that internal orgasm, great. But for most of us, we desire pressure. We desire interplay with our clitoris. And if it wasn't for Sigmund Freud saying that was an infantile version, I'll repeat it, infantile version of pleasure, then probably we would have that concentration. The Greeks knew it. The Italians in 1559 claimed like, I just discovered something like a flag. So really getting to know that our woman knows our clitoris just like I fucking know a dick. I've been seeing dicks my whole life in diagrams, in the media. Like that's something a casual conversation. I'm expected to give a good blowjob and I fucking do. I'm good, I'm dedicated. I wanna know how you want it. I am that massage therapist where I'm like this, harder, softer, okay. And everyone wants it differently. I am an open lover. I wanna know that in you. But when they go down there and I'm like harder, softer, no. They don't know how to have that same enthusiasm. And I don't know why, that's fucking crazy to me. And so maybe for all of you tonight, like knowing, like the Delphic medium, know thyself, like know what pleases you, know your pleasure so that when you fill out your mental diagram or of hard, medium, soft, you know how you climax. Are you that 25%? Or are you the woman that wants that man to press against you and that she, like a martial artist, just like, and you're like, and it's kind of that simple, but it's so complicated. It doesn't have to be. So yes, a little bit about the LGBT community. 86% climax together compared to 65% of heterosexual. And largely that is said to be about communication, not communication what feels good, about long kissing. Like you're breathing someone's spirit into your very cell and core. And also about longevity. So if it's all about the penis, make it later. Because if I was trying to have you orgasm just from the base of your penis, it probably wouldn't work. And basically just internal penetration is that. So if you want your woman to actually feel as much pleasure as you do, remember to breathe into her with that shaft of light and give her that pleasure that you have so easily experienced. Et voilà.
Sienna, thank you. And I want some action down there. I know who I'm going to come to. All right, so I'm not here to read a poem yet. I am here to celebrate and introduce our next story, which is going to be for Colleen. So put your hands together just to celebrate her and what she put together for us tonight. Colleen! So, let me tell you something about Colleen. So I consider her probably one of my best friends here in Ubud. And I know one thing, when I hang out with Colleen, or if any of you get the amazing chance to hang out with Colleen, 3 things are going to happen. It's going to be magical, it's going to be playful, and it's going to be naughty. So I have had the great privilege to be mentored by Colleen from her book, which is why we're here, The Art of the Torrid Love Affair. And let me tell you, she has taught me some tricks, and last year I had some love affairs. So, give it over.
Hi everybody, I'm Bella. I'm Colleen and Nora's token millennial friend. So I first encountered Colleen at Zest in Ubud, and she was busily working on a project, and I approached her and I was like, hi, I'm Bella. I work with conscious entrepreneurs, and she's like, wow, that's great! I'm Colleen! We're doing a devotional intimacy party! And I loved it. I ate it up. So I've spent some time now getting to know both Colleen and Nora in a personal and a professional capacity. And one thing I have to say about both of these women is that they both bring love and life and inspiration into everything that they do all the time. So when Colleen told me about her book, The Torrid Love Affair, and everything that she was doing to create this project, to grow this project, but also to grow community for women and for men around this project, I wanted to know how I could be a part of it. So I just want to take a moment to celebrate Colleen tonight, because not only did this woman write this incredible book, not only has she mentored in both the professional space but the personal space, but she has also created this amazing event, and the whole time she's thinking about how it's going to give back to the audience, how it's going to give back to the performers, and how she can best show up to serve as a leader. And the fact that this is her book launch, and that she is so giving and open-hearted in what she's bringing to the table, says so much to me in the way that she shows up and the way that she lives her life. So this is my not-so-soft testimonial to Colleen, to everything that she's created, to taking the time, effort, energy to nurture all of these artists. She went out of her way to provide support to all of them. But even to just put on this event, to have us have this space on Valentine's Day Eve, so we can all celebrate together. So if we could just take a minute to applaud Colleen before she comes on stage. Thank you so much, Colleen. You're so special to all of us. This book is going to be amazing for everybody in the way that it brings life and light and love to the world in a grounded, practical, quirky, and really central way. So without further ado,
I'm in a cabin in the woods, meditating on my upcoming move to Bali. I've sold almost everything. I'm feeling a little anxious about my decision because I've never been to Bali. As I'm sitting there and the anxiety rises in my body, I think to myself, how bad can it be? And I catch myself. How bad can it be? Colleen, you're moving to Bali. How good can it get? I jump off the pillow, and on a big piece of paper I write down, how good can it get? And underneath that heading I started writing down things that it would be happening in my life to let myself know that things were getting good. One of those things was make out with a sexy man. Unbeknownst to me, that was the beginning of a torrid love affair. I met Andy in Contact Improv Dance the week before. He was sexy, witty, and playful. I went back. Even though we were supposed to talk, when I danced with him, I asked, "Did I see you at dinner last night?" He said no, but quickly followed up with, "Maybe you're seeing the future." When Andy said that to me, he gave me a gift to be free and flirtatious. Now, the likelihood of me taking that gift in the past was low because I was not enough. But in that moment, I had a decision to make. Was I going to let my not enoughness make me smaller than I know that I am? Or was I going to be courageous, brave, and flirtatious? I chose the latter, and I said to him, well, I have been working on my psychic abilities. After dance, he comes up to me, and he asks, well, when do you want to go to dinner? And I said, well, it should be tonight, because I'm leaving town in 3 days, and the country in 3 weeks, which leads me to a very simple but important Torrid love affair guideline. Someone should be leaving soon. We go to dinner, and I sit down, and I'm like, oh my God, now we're going to have a conversation. I definitely don't want to talk about the stress I'm under, or his, what we do for work, or, other relationships that we've had. So I think to myself, what's going to have him feel amazing? This is another Torrid guideline that I think is very important, and it is the one where you just want to stay in the present moment. Do not dwell on the past or make a false future. So I lean into him, and I say, tell me, what are you passionate about? We start sharing back and forth what we're passionate about, and the conversation gets racy really quickly. And he turns to me and he says, you just want to fuck, don't you? Now, I heard him loud and clear, but what came out of my mouth was, what? And he said, never mind, really embarrassed. And I realized at that moment my good girl conditioning was showing, and I needed to recalibrate, which is another Torrid guideline. Be aware, become aware, and recalibrate. So once I knew that my good girl condition was showing, I could choose to either go with it or drop it. And I dropped it, and I said, oh, I heard you. I just wanted to hear you say it again. So even though I didn't answer his question right off, we both knew what the answer was. So then we decided, well, how would it go? What do you expect? Which is another Torrid guideline, a very important guideline, but high level of communication. I don't know about you, but I live a lot of times in my head and making up stories. And usually those stories are not the truth. And if I'm doing that, the likelihood of someone else doing that is high. So you want to create an open, straight, and easy way of communicating together so that you're creating exactly what you expect. Andy told me that he would meet me at his house. He shows up with candles, music, and binds someone would use to tie someone up. I soon found myself in quite the compromising situation. I was tied by my hands and my feet, and Andy gets on top of me, and he whispers in my ear, I own you. No one else can have you. You're mine. I laugh with delight, and when our session is over, I asked him, how did you learn this stuff? And he said, actually, I've never done it before, but I've wanted to do it for a really long time. When I was a little boy, I watched an episode of Batman where Catwoman tied Batman up, and it just made me feel amazing. And this is a really beautiful Torrid guideline that he was exploring, taking risks and going to his edges. So I thought I would return the favor. And the next night, I dressed up like Catwoman. And I danced for him, and I felt crazy. I was like so anxious and so nervous, but so alive. And I called him Batman, and I tied him up, and we laughed and laughed. And so I put my hand on his chest and said, this is no laughing matter. Don't you see what's happening now? I own you. You're mine. No one else can have you. When my cat costume was stripped off and Andy had been untied, he made the most endearing request. Can I dance for you now? Shocked, I said, please. As he began to dance, I actually started to cry because I thought to myself, it can never be this free, this innocent and this playful again. And then I caught myself and I said, "Says who? Maybe I am at the source of what my life goes. Maybe it can go this way forever because I say so." After his dance, Andy jumps on top of me. He looks deep into my eyes and says, "Has anyone ever barked into your pussy?" No. And he says, "Oh, poor baby." And as he went between my legs, the vibrations of the most masculine bark vibrated through my body, and I thought to myself, how good can it get?
How good can it get? Oh, I love that story. Maybe my last poem of the evening. I want to be greedy, wrap my tongue around your presence, pull you deep and feel the pulsing. I want to be greedy, grab your time and have it all for me. Me, sweating in the mess of the moment. I want to be greedy and not care about you. Tell your mind to switch off and onto me. Lock your gaze with mine and challenge you. I want to be greedy, demand more of you, push you down on your knees and obey. I want to be greedy, strap you down to call you mine, tease you for my pleasure, not yours. I want to be greedy, tell you stories of me, make you listen to entrance your being, blind you with all of me. I want to be greedy, hungry for more, drunk on you, needing it all. I want to be greedy. I want you.
Okay, everybody, that's the end of the show. Can we get all performers up on stage? As the performers are coming up on stage, I just want to thank you guys so much for being such a great audience and so with us and interactive and so beautiful. We so appreciate it. As you know, this is I just feel like this is really special. And I might not know you. I know a lot of you in the audience. But I might not know you, but I just want to let you know that you made a difference for me tonight by showing up. And as I grow into the newer me that I want to be, you were a part of it, and I thank you for that. And I thank all of you guys for showing up and being a part of this. I have a commitment really to stand up and talk about love, intimacy, and joy, and aliveness, and passion. And I'm just so honored to do it here in Ubud, Bali, where I've been incubating for the past 4 years. And so honored to be supported by so many amazing people. So thank you once again. That tells you about how to pre-order my book, The Art of the Torrid Love Affair. If you are interested in having more passion, more aliveness, more beautiful relationships in your life, pre-order this book today. Or even if you're interested in having that more in the world, I would be honored for you guys to pre-order this book. I'm looking for 500 pre-orders in order for me to get a publisher. And if I get a publisher, I'm able to break this out into the masses. So your support would mean the world to me. And just give me, I mean, that's it. Give me one last applause for everybody who showed up, being willing to take risks, talk about lingams, talk about sex, talk about kissing. Oh my gosh. Oh yes, Carolyn would like to remind you, you can order more than one. If you order a package, you can get free coaching from me. I have been an expert in emotional intelligence for over a decade, where I have guided leaders into more effective leadership, not only in their corporate lives, but also in their personal lives. This includes leaders from Google, New Line Cinema, Nike, Adidas, all that good stuff. And I'm taking everything that I learned from there and applying it for people in their relationships. So you get free coaching, you get extra workbooks, all that good stuff when you order more than just one book. Thank you, Carolyn, for being a support for me. Oh yeah, gift for your friends. Beautiful. All right, so give a round of applause for yourself, give a round for the things. And I have one request. Go out there and have yourself a torrid love affair.